2016 meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Chris, would you lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now I'd ask for a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. I see nobody here for the Historic Commission report, so I'll go on to public comment.
We should approve the agenda first.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is twice in a row I've skipped that for some reason. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Agenda is approved. And now we'll go on to public comment. Is there anybody here that wishes to make public comment?
Is this an open?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything and everything you want to
Anything you
discuss.
want to say, yeah.
I don't get down there very often. My name is James Brandon, and excuse me, and I live at 4250 Crescent Drive, and that's in Hickory Hill Farm subdivision. Okay, the reason I'm here is the trailer situation in driveways. There is an ordinance that says that they can only be there for 48 hours. Everybody familiar with that? Okay, but it's kind of open end. From the way, in fact, the police officer's out today, the chief of police sent him out, trailer, it's a concession stand trailer business. He operates at the Grand Lake City Farmers Market. Today he's out at Holly selling hot dogs. He brings it back and puts it right back in his driveway. And but it's kind of a game with him. The way the kind of open-end ordinance is now, he can just pull it out in the street and bring it right back in, which he's done. Then start his 48 hours over again. Today I talked to the officer, and after he left there, I was leaving also, so we stopped in the middle of the street talking. And, excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. But he said, well, I don't know how long the trailer's been there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's been there since Sunday evening after he left the farmer's market. So is this afternoon is going for 4 days. So the open end is, you know, like, it doesn't make sense to me. It's open where he can just pull it out in the street and back it right back in. Chief of Police has been real nice about it, and this guy has a petition going around. I don't think he realizes he has to do the whole township, but he wants to have permission to keep the trailer in the driveway for 7 days. Well, that means he never has to move it. So, anyway, I'd like to get this cleared up. There's got to be something at the end where it says he can't just pull it on the street and come back. That's the reason I'm here tonight.
Okay.
He's a nice guy. He talked to you. After the police left, I drove by his house. I waved to him. He waved back. His wife's not too happy. But anyway, I wrote down your license plate numbers, and if I see you drinking a beer or anything, I'm going to report you for drunk driving. I don't drive and drink anyway, so I'm not worried about that. 73 years old, I never had a ticket or an accident in my life, and I sure don't intend to start now. So I've been lucky. I admit. I've had a couple of times I've been lucky. You know, actually, you just look down, I'm going over speeding quite a bit. But I've been lucky.
Would that go to the
Planning.
Well, what I'll do first, I'll have Mr. Delzer contact Chief Wiles and get some of the details, and then we'll follow up with it. And I'm familiar with Jim. He's an excellent neighbor and a good citizen,
Yeah.
so we'll follow up on his complaint
Me
and
too, yeah.
see how far we can go with the ordinance that we currently have. And if there's something that needs to be changed, we'll explore.
Yeah, went through this once with another trailer, not in our subdivision, but with another one, and the same thing, the 48 hours, and then they'd be back, in the same place, so.
No, but we'll look into it. I think Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, I just have a comment, and I'm glad you spoke on that tonight, because I've had two residents on Timberlane Court, two different residents in Timberlane Court informing of the exact same trailer you're talking about, and apparently this person's petition is something to change the ordinance to allow trailers to be parked in the side yard or backyard. Is that-
Well, this guy here wants to park it in his driveway.
Okay.
Now, he has had beside his house. Now, I got 28-foot Sea Ray Sundancer in my backyard. I pulled it around the house. I didn't want it in the front. In fact, I'm taking up to Bay City tomorrow and have it put in the water right next to my big one. I got a 49-footer up there too.
Oh, wow.
So, oh God, it's expensive.
I was gonna say,
But I'm trying to keep the subdivision clean.
okay, so my
Everybody else-
petition is to keep it in the driveway then? That's all I'm
Yeah,
trying to-
well, I haven't seen it petitioned.
You haven't seen it? Okay.
No,
And I'm
but
not that bad.
he showed it to a friend of mine, asked him to sign it. His name is Jerry Averin. He used to live in the subdivision. And Jerry says, no, I'm not gonna sign it. He said, well, why? He says, because don't blow in the driveway. So Fabian or Phil asked him, well, why not? He says, because it don't look right, it looks dirty. And he is the only guy in the whole subdivision that is not going, is playing this game. Everybody else that has trailers, they're parked beside their house. But this guy here is not gonna do it. He's a nice enough guy. But where did you say you heard about it?
Timberlane Court. Timberlane Court. It's in Hickory Hills. It's right off Knollwood Drive.
His mother lives in Hickory Hills.
Oh, okay.
Grew up there. Know the neighborhood well.
She's a neighbor too, Jim.
So I just, I hope something can be done.
Okay. Thank you for your
Because he
comment.
is gonna continue playing the game.
Okay.
He's not the only one. I get calls about that frequently, so I really do wish we could do something about it.
We will put our heads together with the chief and see if we can find a solution.
Okay.
And he will probably appreciate it too. Because of the police officer, now my son is a police officer, Motisman. And like the officer told me today, he said, we got a lot of stuff to do. And he said, this kind of stuff here, is, they're required to do it, but it's mediocre type stuff. And I'm not gonna give up.
No.
And I told the officer that.
Yeah.
And Phil's not gonna give up either.
No. Okay.
So one of us is gonna have to.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you for your time.
Yeah, all right.
Appreciate it.
Scott?
And obviously, it's more the trailers, it's boats, like you mentioned, and other
Yeah.
things like that that fall into that same category there.
Motorhomes.
Yeah.
The question I had, Mr. Lay, isn't a commercial trailer different than a recreational trailer or a recreational boat? I mean, this is a commercial trailer
Yeah,
for business. Isn't that considered something different?
Well, I know we have a distinction in our zoning ordinance between recreational vehicles and then commercial vehicles, but off the top of my head, I don't know what
You're
they are.
right,
So
but that
we'll-
might help us out,
But-
especially in your case, because it seems like a commercial vehicle would be different than,
Well, we need to look at all of them.
Yeah, we'll track them all down, all the categories down.
Yeah.
And again, it's not just a problem in that neighborhood or with this issue,
Right.
it pops up often.
Could he get the trailer inside his garage?
No, but
No.
well, one time he had it parked alongside the house. He's got plenty of room, but he does not want to park it on the grass. Last winter, he told me, he says, well, I didn't park it, I couldn't find a place to store it. But they were all full. So I went where Colony Market used to be,
Yeah.
right next to it is a storage place. So I went and asked them. They laughed.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, we have room.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to spend the money.
Yeah.
Well, I can kind of see that too, where that's an expensive trailer and vandalism, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I can see why he wouldn't want to do it, but he can keep it alongside his house.
Yeah.
Well, part of what I see, the problem with parking next to the house is if your house isn't paved or next to it, it can turn into a muddy mess and look just as bad as having it parked in the driveway sometimes. So I don't know if that's something we want to look at, but, or if they're not covered, it's a boat, and, or they cover the trailer, and they can start to look like a collection of
Well,
junk next to somebody's house.
Something
too.
we can look at and what other places have done and see
Right.
what we can do for it, yeah.
We had somebody take a trailer, And I'm not talking a trailer, I'm talking about like a short semi-trailer.
Mhm.
And park a motor home on top of that trailer permanently so that they can haul their motor home around on a semi.
Mm.
And they park that next to their house. It was a trailer parked next to the house, but it was basically a motor home on top, or a trailer on top
Yeah.
of a semi-trailer,
Yeah.
so that they could pull it with a
There-
semi-truck.
There is an answer if they don't want to park on the grass. They can put a pad.
Right.
It was a cement pad or this,
Paver stone or something.
yeah, slag stone, that's a good piece. But that can be done.
Right.
I think the problem is gonna be, and I think Earl hit it right on the head, I think it has to be distinction between something that is for commercial use and trailer that's for private use. Because it would be very difficult to enforce if it's for private use, because how many people here, not here, but in the township, have a boat or a trailer that they park there for 24 or 48 hours? We used to have problems very similar on Robin, where a person would move their car about 3 feet up every day and park in front of the neighbor's house and just move it about 3 feet up. Nothing we could do because they were moving the car and it was operating.
Mhm.
So I think if you were going to explore this, it probably should be a distinction between commercial versus private.
Well,
That wouldn't solve the
that's,
problem.
that's one idea. Distinction between a commercial and a private. You're actually, what are you doing about the private people? Are you going to do anything about that?
And that's what I'm saying, it's problematic at that point. When you-
Well,
when
we
you-
should work on that,
There's
because they don't have the right
municipalities
to
that do.
junk up a whole neighborhood by parking their mobile homes out front for all summer. I don't
Well,
think.
I know what you're saying, but then I think we're, this,
We've got a great attorney, he's gonna figure out.
I
I
know. Figure it out.
have faith in our attorney, we're gonna figure out what we're doing.
And superintendent.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Very good. Ed, you got anything tonight?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for asking.
Okay, thank you.
Jim, since you've never been here before, you don't have to stay for the whole meeting if you make a comment. You're
Well,
welcome to, but you don't have to.
How long does it last?
An hour,
We don't
an
like
hour
to-
and a half.
Nicole,
I'm
Peter,
usually in
with
bed
you.
about 7:30.
Okay,
To be honest
better
with you.
go then.
Yeah, okay.
If you want to get up and sneak out, it's acceptable. If you want to
Well,
stay
I don't want
behind.
to be disrespectful.
No,
I
that's
came
why I'm
here
telling.
asking for help.
No, but that's why I'm telling you that, because a lot of times people just come in and say what they want and leave, or if they get a presentation, they get
I'm
up and
sorry, I
leave,
didn't mean to
so.
cut you short.
You know, and you don't have to apologize, because you know what, we appreciate people coming in
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
talking,
Right.
and telling us what the issues are that we need to be.
Seems like I was here once before for something and spoke up, but I don't remember what it was for. It was years ago.
Well, if you have a concern, there's probably a lot of other people have the same
Well,
concern.
the one guy, he stopped it, well, the still, with the, okay, I'm not even shooting. Fabian, or Phil, first name, he, what the heck was I gonna say?
No.
I'll be careful, because you're on camera.
Yes, I'm on camera.
Yeah. Yes.
He came down one time, well, actually, when I first turned him in, I was talking to my neighbor, my
Yeah.
next door neighbor. And I'm in the truck out in the street there, and Mike, we're talking, and Phil, he's a pretty good sized guy. He comes down, and he starts raising heck. That's a mountain word. And he says, who made you the chief? Who made you passing all the ordinance and
Yeah.
stuff? I said, hey, it's not me. It's your job too. You want to live in this neighborhood. It's your job and everybody's job to
Keep it nice.
keep it nice. It's not just mine. So, and anyway, that just kept going round robin with him. My neighbor Mike walked away. And I finally drove away and he still yelled at me as I'm leaving. But he was mad because I didn't come down to see him. Okay, that's another thing. I'm on somebody else's property.
Yeah.
Hey, they just say I'm trespassing. I don't know some of these people. I know most of them. We got a lot of good neighbors. We've lost some good ones too. But it's not my job to go up, knock on the door and say, hey, you can't do this.
No.
Because then,
You
next
did
thing
the
you
right-
know, I
you
get a
did-
busted lip.
You did the right thing. You
Yeah.
did the right thing.
Well, there's another people in the neighborhood that didn't think so.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank
We
you.
have highly trained professionals for that.
I'll call my son. No, I can't do that.
Okay, moving on, I'd like to ask for approval of the minutes, either singly or all together. For May 10th, the town meeting, May 12th, the regular meeting, May 17th, the special meeting, and May 24th, the fourth Tuesday meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll support.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Your minutes are passed. The treasurer's report, Mr. Boozer.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. It's my pleasure to present the monthly bills. The general total is $918,149.77. The DPW total is $653,150.70. The solid waste total is $110,762.07, for a grand total of $1,682,062.54. Move approval as presented, Madam Chair.
Support.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is passed. And then the bills.
Thank you.
Now, we'll go on to review new business. The board will review foreclosed property from Genesee County that are available for purchase by the township for a public use. We have gone through these. Is there any of these properties that you would like to see?
As I discussed Tuesday, I think there's one property that Parks and Rec might be interested in, but per the policies of the Genesee County Land Bank, we can obtain that at the end of the year, so there's nothing needs to be done
We
this
can
time, in my
see-
opinion, so.
At this time, we see
I
no.
would make a motion that we refuse all the properties offered by the land bank and allow them to go back to the Genesee County Land Bank.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The DPW is requesting that the board approve the upgrades of the FlexNet meter reading system for a cost not to exceed $39,552 for the integration of a new system and first year's hosting services, and authorize the township superintendent to execute all related contracts and documents.
So moved.
Support.
All those, is there any questions or comments on it?
Madam Chair, if I could, Director Sears is at a conference tonight, so he couldn't be here, but he did want me to update the board to just reaffirm that when we talked about the amount of lost water, and hopefully this system's going to help us capture some of that, that he had initially indicated that he thought it could have been up to as much as $250,000 per year. The actual figure is closer to $115,000 per year. And we talked about, we were in double digits loss at one point, 15%. It's down to about 8% with our goal to get below 5%.
Okay.
If I recall right, I think the last time we discussed this with the previous salt, we were at 8 or 9%,
Yeah.
and we were among the lowest municipalities in Genesee County.
Already, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
doing a fine job, and hopefully we can improve upon that, so that's
Yeah.
good news. Thank you.
So I think 5% would be a great goal.
Good night, thank you.
Good night, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, is there anything else? Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. The board shall consider a motion to declare the 2004 Chevrolet cargo van and 2002 Chevrolet one-ton dump truck surplus equipment, and allow the DPW director to sell the vehicles by a public auction to the highest bidder.
I'll make the motion.
I'll support.
Is there any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. The board shall consider approving the City Works annual maintenance renewal of $20,935. This covers maintenance and support as well as software upgrades for the 15 logins for asset management and work order system software utilized by the DPW. The software integrates with ESRI's ArcMap software. Funding for renewal will be from the DPW fund.
I'll motion that we approve the software update.
Thank you.
Renewal.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments on this? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. The board shall consider setting the date of July 14th, 2016 for a public hearing for a special assessment district to repave the streets Norfolk and Fairview Drive in Concord Green subdivision.
I will make the motion, but I notice there's no time on here. Is there a meeting time set?
I don't know. Was there a
That's
sign?
how it was given to me. We can set it at 7 o'clock because usually we do it at a board meeting.
Okay,
Right.
so July 14th, 2016 for
7
hearing for the
o'clock.
Special
7
Assessment District
o'clock.
for Norfolk and Fairview Drive in Concord Green, 7 p.m.
Very good, thank you. Are there any questions or comments?
I'll support.
Okay.
Or did anybody support?
I'll support it.
Mr. Bennett supported,
That's
Mr.
okay.
Anderson made the motion, Scott Bennett supported.
Yeah, you.
I did hear him, but it wasn't
Okay,
right.
all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. The board shall consider adopting the Perry House rental agreement. We had some questions. I contacted 4 places today, and they suggested that we have a minimum of at least $200.
I actually just emailed you something here tonight that you should all have in your email. It's actually one of our residents provided it for me to, but it's another similar type arrangement. But I'd like, unless we need to pass this thing tonight, I'd like us all to look at some of it. And it isn't because I want to put
No.
my foot in the spokes, it's just
Well, there's
because
no rush.
I want to make
Yeah.
sure that we do it right and we don't end up with some things, overlooking some things that could come back to bite us.
So would you like to table this till
I'd
the
like to
fourth?
table it to the next
fourth
meeting,
week?
right? And I emailed everybody a similar agreement for
Yeah.
another municipality. But I haven't looked at the thing fully, but I
I
just
saw
want to
your
make sure
email,
we're
but I haven't
protecting
had time to
ourselves.
read through it.
Yeah, I just want to protect ourselves.
I'll second that.
All those in
Motion
favor
table
of
it.
tabling?
Aye.
All those opposed? The rental agreement is tabled until the 4th Tuesday meeting. Township board reports. I am going to contact the road commission in regard to the number of miles. I didn't get it today, but I was off for part of the day, but I will be getting it. They should be doing McCandlish very soon. They promised me it would be done by the end of June, but it should be coming up. Water, they're trying to, Flynn is trying to say that Carrignani has had something to do with it, which it doesn't, so we're going into a regular argument. The TAC, that they are doing the planning through 17, 18 through 20, okay, as far as the roads are concerned. So we've been working on those. 911 meets tomorrow. They're looking into doing a text instead of recording on tape. It will be a written text, for
Emergency
proof,
notification.
evidence kind of thing. They're discussing that tomorrow. And I-69 will be meeting tomorrow as well. So Larry?
At this time, nothing to report for the fire commission.
Pardon?
Nothing to report for the fire
Okay.
commission.
Scott?
Yes, the planning commission, we had our meeting, let's see, on the 2nd of June, and we had a couple of issues. One was, had a few things associated with the drive-through at the proposed Taco Bell near the corner of Hill and Fenton Road. Cleared that up. We also had a request for rezoning. We set a public hearing date in July, and basically, or in June rather. No, I'm right, July. The public hearing for rezoning of a piece of property that everyone's familiar with, where the Speedway station is on Hill Road, had a zoning request. Well, right next to it is a piece of property where a church used to be located. It's directly east of the Speedway. It's vacant property now. It's actually the zoning that they're seeking is consistent with what's in our master plan.
Okay.
But what they're proposing to build there, and it's a resident of Grand Blanc that wants to build it, is a assisted living facility, assisted and I think memory care as well. So we set a public hearing date for that. The other, we set a public hearing date for another assisted living facility, this one on Grand Blanc Road near Brick Street.
That's right.
Adjacent to Brick
Yeah.
Street, just west of Brick Street actually. And that's also a Grand Blanc resident. And then we talked about a PUD. Trying to recall where this is, but it's on, it's from Bud Design. I'm trying to recall
It's
where.
on Holly Road by
Oh.
the Comfort Inn.
Yes, it's the Fairfield Inn
Oh, the Fairfield
that
Hotel?
we're looking at. They want to build a 4-story hotel behind Comfort Inn.
Yeah.
So we set, we have some work to do on that yet. We also talked about the tree protection ordinance amendment, and we'll be seeing some information on that.
Yeah.
We're going to have a public hearing on that.
Okay. Very good.
So we had a busy, all of our meetings are busy lately with the planning commission,
Good.
which is good.
Any questions for Scott on that? Okay. Down back to Larry for zoning board of appeals.
No, Parks and Rec.
Oh, I'm sorry, Park
Clark
and
Kent's
Rec.
not here tonight for zoning board of
Yeah,
appeals, so
I skipped, yeah.
unless Dennis has anything to comment on. No.
I actually attended it. We just considered a rear yard setback so someone could build a porch, and then an accessory building height variance to allow 3 foot more on the
Oh.
accessory structure. So not earth-shaking events, but all
Yeah.
went smoothly.
They both passed.
They did.
Okay. Larry, Parks and Rec?
Okay, Parks and Rec, a lot going on this weekend for Parks and Rec. This is the 10th anniversary of the Grand Blanc Fun Fest, Grand Blanc Carnival. Everybody sees going on downtown, so we encourage all board
Earl and I
members,
were there.
residents to come on down. It's a great place to socialize with some people. We'll guarantee you'll see friends and neighbors there. And there's an entertainment tent to the back of that, and all the proceeds from the sale of beverages at that tent go to the Grand Blanc Parks and Recreation Department. So, and that's staff being run by Parks and Rec and volunteers. Hope to see you.
We're still promoting the Millers. Okay, very good. Mr. Limita?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I apologize first because I should have asked to add this to the agenda, but we had a meeting today with one of the Chapter W ASME group representatives, and something that we've been working on for the front of the house here for our cashiers is that we have, especially with the special assessment districts, have created more work that we've been working out of the deputy treasurer's position for Treasurer Guzak. And we've been looking all year to try to move that workload back out into, it used to be in finance, and it's kind of pushed into treasurer, and we're trying to adjust that. Actually, one of the cashiers came up with a suggestion that she was willing to take on some additional work in addition to her duties. And we met today and went through that. And I will pass this down so that you guys can see what came up. But what was proposed at the end of it was that we have instead of having 3 clerical 1 cashier positions, is that we would have 2 clerical 1 cashier positions and 1 clerical 2, just to recognize the fact that we have,
Recovered, okay.
that we have an individual that can do the additional work. So in talking with the ASME representatives about how we would go about moving this through, typically when we would create a position, it would require a 10-day posting for internal candidates. But what we're really not trying to create an additional position. What I'm looking to do is eliminate one of the clerical 1 cashier positions and then take that displaced worker and move them into a clerical 2 cashier position with the additional duties as listed. The 2 sheets that you have before you, the one on the back side is the current job description for just the cashier, and then the one on the front with the yellow highlighters on it is in addition to what's on that back sheet, includes the duties that are on the front sheet. There's not a lot of financial impact to the township to move this forward, but there is a huge impact to our workflow. And I've talked with Treasurer Guzak right before the meeting. He feels confident if they were comfortable with it that the workload, the transition would be smooth, and it would give us the opportunity to pull some of that work out of the deputy treasurer's position. If the board would consider moving forward with the job descriptions as proposed, we could make that transition relatively quick here and moving forward.
And we already have clerical 1 and clerical 2 positions. You're basically giving this employee a new job title, if you will. And this,
Well, to move from
Yeah,
from
right.
1 to
All of our
From 1 to a 2.
cashiers have been listed as clerical 1s, so they all stay in that clerical 1 bucket.
Right.
And they've all done the same job duties. This proposal takes one of those positions, takes it down to 2 clerical 1s, and then a clerical 2 position, which I would propose that we remain that way. And it also gives other clerical 1 cashiers the idea that they do have some movement
There's a possible.
instead of just being flatlined out at a clerical 1 position.
and I'm sure that the bargaining units have no disagreement with this whatsoever, actually benefits them. Anything, correct?
Absolutely. We sat and went through it today and answered all their questions, and it appears that everybody was very comfortable with it, and we got the go-ahead stamp from the Chapter W AFSCME representatives.
Actually, it looks like a very good way to solve technical problems, so.
And it's uniform, so now there's a structure that this occurred. Before, there wasn't a structure, it's just
Right.
at one point in time, okay, I want to change somebody from level 1 to level 2, but there was no structure. Now Dennis has set up a structure that it does give other cashiers an opportunity.
And just so the board knows, the financial impact associated with this at this time equates to about 12 cents per hour. Because when you move from clerical 1 to clerical 2, this is a long-term employee whose position basically would be eliminated as a clerical 1, and then we'll create the clerical 2. But when they move, she's maxed out at the 3-year maximum for a clerical 1, so they move to the next available increase in the clerical 2, which puts her at a 2-year clerical 2 and only equates to about a 12 cents per hour increase. We get a tremendous amount of increased workflow for 12 cents per hour. The next adjustment for her then would come in September on her hire date, where then she would see the next adjustment that would put her back at the 3-year rate of a clerical 2 position.
Okay.
Is that
Are you looking for action on this tonight?
What's that person?
Who are we speaking of?
No. What is the next rate? You said it's a 12-cent increase now, and then in September there's another increase.
I didn't take it with
Yeah, I
me,
think
Dr.
it's-
Reardon. I have to pull it, but it's like
50 cents.
50 cents an
Yeah, it's
hour.
only 50 cents total difference between level 1 and some about 50,
Right.
60 cents.
So then I have a question. Why don't we do this with the others? And then utilize them as well?
That's a potential. I mean, right now we have 2 individuals who are relatively short-term, they wouldn't be eligible on the clerical 2 position. So could we change all of those to clerical 2 positions? I think theoretically we could, because it gives them the opportunity that you're going to start as a clerical 1 with the idea if you become more technologically advanced, we see that this works, we assign different duties, and we bring them all up to clerical 2.
But also all the other departments to lend to that are already at level 2, okay? Every other department here, since we're short-staffed, everybody else is at a level 2. So it would only affect this section, but if there's ever growth in those other departments, then there would be, you could probably set that up for those other departments, right?
And the separation between clerical 1 and clerical 2 is not exactly a fine line. We take, in the way it was initially envisioned, is we take those positions and we say the ones that become more technologically advanced, or we give them a greater workload, or the
Greater
work that they're doing is more
responsibility, yeah.
advanced, we move to a clerical 2. So if they're working on projects or things like that, and then when you look at this, you understand when you look at those duties, where suddenly we're going to take somebody who the cashier's description is about taking money, greeting customers, answering phones, to somebody who is now helping develop the special assessment district assessments to be put on tax bills to forward out. I mean, they're batching out, they're assisting the new cashiers, much more advanced position than the clerical 1 would have been.
Yeah, I'm for it, I just thought that
Sure.
if we could utilize them by making all clerical 2, get a bigger bang, but I understand we've got to wait.
I think that's a great point, and I've been looking at our entire operation critically, trying to find what we can do. I mean, everybody knows that we have a vacant planner's position, and what can we do with that? I'm currently also working on, we have a part-time position in there now that works for code enforcement and then bleeds over into building, and with planning, we increased our planning services from our consultant company. But yet, we still have, I mean, what I'd like to envision is maybe we can expand another position out there without expending a lot of money, where we can take like decks and fences, site plan review from our current person that's in planning and bring that into a new position that is more of a broad-based position that's building, planning, and code enforcement all in one. But we get the benefit of now a 40-hour instead of a 29-hour person to help balance that workload. Right now, I have one individual who I can tell you has a tremendous workload based upon where we're at as a township. The growth that we're experiencing, the boom in economic development has put a strain on one particular department. So I'm really working hard to try to balance that workload within our budgetary constraints.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we move forward on this proposed full-time cashier clerical 2 position.
And I'll
Support.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And all those opposed?
Thank you, I appreciate that. She did actually even write up a narrative about the impact to the township from making this change. You already got your 12 cents worth.
I think so, I think so.
The other things I had for you this evening, I have been in discussion with the clerk about filling that deputy clerk's position, and she had asked me for advice on where the pay range may fall. I realize that that's a board decision. I don't know if you guys would want to offer up a pay range as she's beginning to look for the deputy clerk and how she's going to fill that position. Can we give some guidance on where we think it is? I mean, when we were talking about it before, we were looking at different individuals and we were trying to establish what that pay range was. It appears to me that we're probably topped out somewhere at the $23, $24 an hour mark on a full deputy clerk. I don't know what the low end would be, and it would be very helpful if we had some of that information from the clerk standpoint, being able to have those discussions with potential candidates on where that would be.
I'd be glad to say, I think it should entirely be based on the individual's
Yeah.
experience, background, resume, and so forth, but I'd be comfortable with anywhere between the $18 to $24 an hour, even $18 to $25 an hour price range. 25 being the absolute top end for a really qualified, well-experienced. hit the ground
I'm good
running
with that,
individual.
just so I can have something to tell people, because they're writing and asking me, what's the pay?
Looking for board consensus here, but that's my offer, 18 to 25.
That sounds good.
I'm good with that, that's broad enough to, is everybody else?
I'm good
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Thank you, I appreciate that. A couple more things. One was the car allowance that the board generously so offered me. I'm still working on it. After that last meeting, I had to leave the following day to head down south, and by the time I got back, I just haven't, it's on the burner. It just got pushed back a little bit for a few minor crises that popped up over the week. I would anticipate that I will have all that information for you no later than the next meeting as an update. The meeting that we had initially scheduled for the Planning Commission joint board meeting that was scheduled for this evening, there wasn't enough Planning Commission members to make it worth our while to meet. although they have expressed interest that they find is really worthwhile, they want to get back together. They proposed the date of the next meeting of July 28th for our meeting of that fourth Tuesday of July, and we meet at 6 o'clock and still have 1 hour. We have several things in the email that I sent out to everybody that are proposed topics. If there's other topics that could crop up between then and now, or if there's other topics that you guys would like to discuss with the Planning Commission. But I think the master plan update is probably a big one. The Tech Village update is probably a big one. And then any type of zoning ordinance review. It might be blight ordinances. It could be trailers and driveway ordinances. But there's some very topical events that we may want to discuss in those meetings. And that's all I had.
Okay.
Madam Chair, we have on our agenda tonight an executive session to consider if we have our fire chief present. And we want to consider his performance evaluation, and in doing so, we need to allow him the opportunity to have that discussion in closed session if he wants, or an open session. And so, Chief, would you like to have that discussion in closed session?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I'd like you to do is, if you're so inclined, we'll need a motion to go into executive session. We need to 2/3 roll call vote.
I'll make a motion to go to executive session to discuss employee performance.
Support. Mr. Bennett,
Yes.
myself, yes. Mrs. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Guzek.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Yep.
Dr. Reardon.
It's actually going to be the 26th.
26.
Just so you know.
Thank you.
5 minutes.
We resume our regular session.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
No, he didn't adjourn, he was resumed.
Oh, wait, it was
I'll make a
open?
motion.
Resume.
I'll make a motion to
Oh.
adjourn the meeting.
Okay, sorry.
I'm making a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
So you got that last one?